right, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to our May 27th board meeting. We are officially called to order, and I'm going to take the roll call. Trustee Constant.
I am here.
And Trustee Coleman.
Yes.
Heidi Hall is here. And
Yes.
I'm here.
Bill. All board members present. Do we have a motion to amend or adopt the agenda?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. And is there anyone here for public comment on any closed session items?
3 minutes, Michelle.
Seeing none, we're going to adjourn to closed session. We will be back at 6:30. It's on.
I'm glad you noticed this.
All right, good evening. I know we're going to get started. It is 6:32. Sorry, we're a tiny bit behind. But welcome to our May 27th open session of the Roseville Joint School District Board meeting. We are going to get started tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. Stand. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I am going to go right into item 3.3, our announcement of meeting protocols. The Board of Trustees encourages public participation during the meeting and requests civility in the use of courteous language. The board does not condone the use of profanity, vulgar language, gestures, or other inappropriate behavior, including personal attacks or threats directed towards any meeting participant and/or district employee. There will be an opportunity to speak to the Board of Trustees on items not on the agenda during the public comment section, as well as opportunities to speak to each item on the agenda when that item comes up for consideration. In the interest of facilitating the conduct of the public's business, members of the public who wish to address the board during the meeting will have specific time limits as follows. If less than 10 members of the public wish to comment on agenda or non-agenda items, the time limit for each public comment will be 3 minutes per person. If 10 or more members of the public wish to comment on agenda or non-agenda items, the time limit for each public comment will be 1.5 minutes. A complaint about a specific employee or employees of the district should be made to that employee's immediate supervisor or the school site principal as outlined in our board policy and administrative regulation. Please complete the comment form located on the table in the lobby, and we will call you when it is your turn to speak. The meeting is being audio and video recorded and will be archived. And for item, I'm doing a little reverse. For item 3.2, we have no action items to report from closed session, so I skipped that. My apologies. All right, now we're moving back in the right direction. Item 4.1, special recognition and presentations. And that is going to be presented by our superintendent for our student board representatives.
All right, so I don't know, Heidi, if you wanted to, as board president, you wanted to deliver the plaques to them, and I can call out their names and bring them down. All right, the first one from Granite Bay High School, Bella Simmons. Come on up. Need to take a picture right here.
Oh, yes.
Crumble?
Crumble. Yeah. Okay. Do you want all of them?
That's up to you.
All of us. You should hold up your crumble.
My crumble.
This is how we're going to get all kinds of student board members.
All right, big smiles. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Plus 1. All right. Thank you.
Come on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
And now we have from Oakmont High School, Peyton Gomez.
Big smiles on three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And from Roseville High School, Allison King.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Last one. All right, thanks, guys.
And for Peyton and Allison, when the meeting is over, you can take your name placard. You can go ahead and take that with you. So if you're a graduating senior, like I told Bella, you just put that out there for your grad parties and say, here's the correct spelling, make checks too. But thank you to all three, appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. It's awesome having student board members. I wish my school would have done that when I was in high school. All right, moving on to item 5.1. Board expectations tonight are going to be read by Trustee Coleman.
All right, our board expectations for the Roseville Joint Union High School District. Prepare all students for life, college, and career through high-quality academic opportunities for all students and support student academic success. Engage in partnership with families and the community. The school is a welcoming, safe environment that serves as the center of student learning, activities, athletics, and performing arts. Promote a sense of community in our schools and the surrounding areas. And third, utilize effective governance and business practices. Remain open, transparent, and accountable to the community. Serve as an employer of choice with the highest quality teachers and staff.
All right, thank you. And then moving on to our board reports. Do you want to start first down there?
Sure. Just a couple quick things. The board policy committee met and did a lot of work this last week. We will see it on our next agenda. And at that point, I'll kind of give you a rundown of all the different things, because I didn't bring my notes with me. And then over the last couple of weeks, I had the opportunity to meet with County Supervisor Suzanne Jones and facilitate a tour for her at Granite Bay High School and Oakmont High School. Speaking with her afterwards, she's actually a parent of an Oakmont grad. But she was very excited to learn about all the different things that our campuses offer. There were a lot of things that she wasn't aware of, because the schools have changed and evolved quite a bit since her last engagement with us, and was very complimentary for everything that is occurring on both those campuses. And that's all I have to report.
Okay, I was able to hit the Roseville High School Academic Merit Awards with Heidi and Brad. And that was really enjoyable. Long, exciting evening. Perhaps you'll talk more about that. Also hit the Placer County Office of Education Staff of the Year dinner, which isn't actually a dinner. So read the invitation, which I didn't do. But it was so good to see our staff members there being recognized and celebrating with them, and also seeing our larger Placer County education world and touch base with them. And Marla and Bill were there as well, so they'll probably see more. And I also was able to hit Oakmont High School the Oakmont High School Health Academy exit interviews for just a little bit. And I quite enjoyed that, especially I had a few minutes to sit with maybe 8 or 9 young women around the table that I was at, and I asked them what they had gleaned from the Health Academy. And I was not prepared. I was interested in what they had to say. They used more adjective words. They said, I hope adjective is the right terminology, discipline, community, opportunity, communication, teamwork, time management, and stamina. I was very impressed with what they gained from the Health Academy and also the opportunity. They had to practice interviews, mock interviews with members of the industry and the community. That's my report.
All right, thank you. I was also hanging out at Roseville High, as Trustee Coleman said. And one thing that was pretty cool is I got to attend the VAPA Awards, which we don't typically get invited as board members, but the VAPA Awards are unique because it's a little mini show. You know, the band played a song, and the dancers danced a number, and the guitar club did one song. And so it was a little bit of a mini showcase, all in half an hour for the visual and performing arts students, and then the art show was in the theater. And so that was fun for my own son. And then we had the Academic Merit Awards, and I don't want to mess these stats up, Ashley, but I think that you said that Roseville High has more scholarships than all of the other schools combined. Is that accurate? And I forget the dollar amount, but I want to say $187,000 or something like that. Yes, okay. I'm remembering all of your details because you were such an engaging speaker. So it was really exciting to see so many students winning awards and scholarships. So that was really exciting, and those kids are ready to go face the world. And then I also want to give just a quick last shout out to the partnership that the high schools have with the city of Roseville for the student interns. So I had to say goodbye to my own, my city of Roseville intern. But the program is really, really well organized, well run by everyone here at this location and with the city offices as well. So just a little shout out to any students who I know are at home watching this. I'm sure that's what everybody's going to be doing. But apply for those city internships your senior year because they are a lot of fun and good learning experiences for our students. Okay, I'm going to pop back down to Trustee Shoes because Marla has requested to go last.
So definitely busy time for all of you, but us as well. A lot of award ceremonies and graduations are coming this week, so excited about that. Was at Oakmont for pop in at the IB Seniors Awards, and then running right over to freshman or junior, followed by senior awards. It's amazing what you guys are doing. A lot of great things coming, and areas of study that I didn't even know existed. Pretty good stuff. Also attended the Placer County Office of Education Awards banquet dinner, whatever we're calling it. But it was great. It was great seeing all the great things that everyone, all different levels and departments were doing throughout, including our own. And it was good to see our principals there too. The other fun event I got invited to was an event called Guru Bandana Program. It's a teacher appreciation day that was put on by the Hindu Education Foundation in the Hindu community in Roseville. I was surprised by the fact that they had me get up on stage, which I wasn't expecting, and went through a whole ceremony, but it was really fun to see a lot of the history behind it and the culture, and there was dancing, there's entertainment. It's a really great event. Check it out next year. They do it every year. So with that, I'll turn it over to you. Thanks.
So back in the spring of 2022, I visited Roseville High School, and they took me into an Avid classroom. And there I saw seniors working on posters to share a before and after of where they were when they started Avid, and then where they were when they when they were graduating. And it was such an inspiration at the time, and I commented to the principal then that we needed to highlight these students and the posters at a board meeting. And so now 3 years later, last week, I finally went to an Avid senior celebration for the graduating cohort, and I saw their video. And that's what I'd asked to have played during my board comments. And I'll set this up by saying the Avid program at Roseville High School supports students who desire to go to college but may need some help to build their academic skills or are unsure how to navigate the process. I was told that these students often are first generation college bound, and frequently they end up having the whole family of siblings in the Avid program. So the oldest child goes to the program, becomes first in the family to go to college, and then that changes the whole trajectory of their whole family. One of the student speakers at the celebration shared that she even encouraged her 27-year-old boss at Burger King to go back to school. And during work, she filled out the application to go to Sierra College and filled out FAFSA form for her. And I just felt like that was such a great story, and that's lasting impact for our community through these students. And so just to throw a little bit of data, of the 26 students in the 2025 graduating class, 95% of them completed the A through G requirements. 91 honors, AP, or dual enrollment courses were taken. 100% applied to a four-year college, and 100% were accepted to one of those colleges. And 84% will attend college in the fall. And I just found this video an inspiration, and I thought it was perfect to celebrate our graduation week. So hit it.
It's gonna make me cry. Okay, we are gonna move right along to our student board reports, your last ones. Either one of you can go first, whoever would like to.
Recently at Oakmont, we finished all of our AP and IB testing, so we're looking forward to seeing our scores in the summertime. Our CASP scores were also released, and we increased our pass rate in math and science by 10%, which is a really big milestone for our school, for the junior class, so we're very proud of that number. We also had the AMAs, as mentioned before, so we were really excited to have the Marines come out and present some awards to some of our juniors. We also recently had our farewell rally, which we honored all of our spring sports, many of which made it to the playoffs. We had Powder Puff last week, and the upperclassmen won, so they were very excited and going out with a bang. And other than that, upcoming we have finals tomorrow and Wednesday, so kind of the final stretch for all of our seniors. And then on Friday we have graduation, and that's it for the 2025, 2026, or 2024, 2025 school year.
For Roseville High School, we had baseball win sections, and for the first time ever, they're going to state. we had an intro to summer dance with fireworks that was a success. As mentioned before, we had the senior AMA ceremony with merit scholarships, and we got the most in the district. We had our biomed and engineering showcase along with our BAPA showcase. We also had the dance show last weekend. We had graduation on Friday. It's now at 7:30 p.m. We also just had our end of the school year rally, which was also a big success. We also had senior signing day, so we got to showcase where all of our seniors are going to college, and we as well finished AP testing, and that is it for the 2024-2025 school year.
Thank you. Okay, so for committee reports, Pete, did you have more that you wanted to add for that? Okay.
Next time.
Next time, we'll see it. Okay.
Don't forget the bulge.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. 5.4, I did that earlier, Mike. It's my eyes.
No worries. All right. So a bunch of things actually. I'll go through them pretty fast, but I just want to let you know for those who did attend the PCOE Employee of the Year event, we did have a county winner who was surprised last week. Keith Wheeler, one of our database administrators, was the PCOE Technical Services Employee of the Year. So they came in, Gail and her crew, and there was a big surprise, and everyone was there to cheer Keith on. So we're really proud of him and his work. The next one is I had a chance to attend the CTE Expo at Antelope, and again, just amazing what these students do. They're, especially in their capstone programs and the things they're studying and researching is far beyond what we should probably expect, and it was tremendous. So great job, Antelope, on that. Even the cool part was the engineering department made a barbecue for the fire department next door. Welded it, put it all together, really cool, put their emblems on there, and it was really neat just because of the relationship with the fire department and the school being on the same property for the most part. So that was kind of a nice little gift for the team over there at the fire department. Got to attend the IB Senior Night at Oakmont, which was really cool. It was very intimate. It was right before their AMAs, but they had their 18 diploma candidates and then 89 certificate students and their families, and Kim Carroll did a great job with that. It was really fun. You could really sense the community within that group, and then they all, with their parents, went over to their AMAs. So that was really neat to be a part of. Like Allison was saying, the college senior signing at Roseville was really, really neat. They did a great job of putting that together. Ashley, the counselors, the whole staff. It was a really neat thing at the school. Got to meet a student and their families going to Cal Lutheran University, so I got to started talking to them. Before you know it, we had a full conversation with the family about my experience there and what she'll be going through at Cal Lutheran, so that was really neat as well. And then you may have seen today, based on the weather forecast coming this week, especially Friday, we've met with all the principals today and just did a little time adjustment just to make sure we can try to be out there as cool as possible. We have different environmental dynamics at each of our sites, but our principals have done a great job, from communication to first aid response to water to various versions of live streaming and cool indoor places people may be able to go to if need be. So try to cover as many bases as possible, and everybody did a good job this morning in communicating out. And then last but not least, just wishing all of our class of 2025 students and families a wonderful graduation experience this week and over the next few weekends with the family gatherings. And then even more important, just congratulations and a job well done to our faculty and staff and our folks here in the audience, our administrators here in the audience, for just another outstanding school year. So I just want to say, before we conclude, great job to all of those doing this great work, and congratulations to our graduating seniors.
All right, thank you. 5.6 RSEA report. What you got?
I didn't know if you wanted to go over the reports.
We kind of skipped over them. We sort of did reports.
That's okay, that's okay. We are going tonight to, you were going to be presented with the negotiated deal that we came up with. And as we've talked about in the past, we, in the CTA branch, we have our once every couple months meeting also. And it is not uncommon to hear how often other districts are struggling through this and making it go on for weeks, sometimes months, sometimes with different kind of steps in the process to mediate between people who won't talk to each other anymore, whatever's gone on. And I've advocated for that for a long time because I really don't like teaching. And I want to be out of the room as many days as possible. But Brad and Joe are always amazing at this. And for the record, they did pay me $20 to say this twice at 2 different board meetings, so we're now even. But we've had a great relationship for a long time. Our actual faculty voted on 92%, so we were happy with it by and large. And I think it's just indicative of where we've been and the kind of relationship we've had over these years, and we're looking forward to continuing that. And we did put together a video, but it wasn't nowhere near as good as that one. A lot of holding hands and stuff like that, and team building, but I forgot to put music to it. So anyway, so we've got that to you tonight, but thank you again for this, and looking forward to another year.
Okay, it is time for public comment. Don't see any cards yet. Is anybody wanting to make any public comments? No. Okay. Item 7 then, our consent agenda. Any motions or questions on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second. Oh. All right, motion and a second, and we will take a roll call vote to approve consent agenda. Trustee Constant.
Yes.
Trustee Coleman.
Yes.
Heidi, yes. Trustee Friends.
Yes.
And Trustee Schutz.
Yes.
And our student board members. Yes. All right. Motion carries 5-0. Consent agenda approved, and we are going to move down. I got a lot of scrolling to do. Okay. Item 8. Public hearing for our LCAP plan with Rose. Okay, so we're opening the public hearing? Or does she? Okay. Okay. All right.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Yes, all right. I'm Tu Caros. I'm our Assistant Superintendent of Education Services, and I will be joined by Dr. C. Montgomery, our Director 2 of the State and Accountability, as well as our Assistant Superintendent, Joe Lanman. And the three of us will present to you the public hearing around our LCAP. Tonight we present to you the analysis of our first year of our 3-year cycle of our 2024 through 2027 LCAP, as well as we share with you our goals and actions moving forward in our second year of our LCAP for the 25-26 school year. As a reminder, our LCAP must address the needs of all of our students, but in particular our specific student groups like our English learners, foster youth, and low-income students, and must also address the 8 state priorities. And thank you, Marla, for sharing that video, because that video actually encompasses the spirit of our LCAP. As you know, our LCAP is intended to support first generation unduplicated students, so that was perfect opening. We begin with our board expectations, our LCAP, which is our transformational plan, comprises of our goals, plans, and actions, and is primarily rooted in two of our board expectations, which is the first around preparing all students for life, college, and career, and the second, which is engaging in partnership with our families and the community. You will see our goals in our LCAP will align nicely with these two board expectations. To start us off, I did want to provide some background information grounded in education code on the input and local board approval processes. So as per education code, all LEAs must hold a public hearing, which is what we're doing this evening, to present the proposed LCAP to the public, and then of course provide the public opportunity to make public comment, as well as submit writing, public comment in writing. Additionally, throughout the year, our team have obtained thought partnership from our LCAP advisory committee and have shared our data with our LCAP committee to obtain their best thinking in helping us to refine our plan for the 25-26 academic year. Again, as shared earlier, after tonight's public hearing, our public will receive the opportunity to provide comments and or feedback or submit questions for our review and response. Thereafter, we will bring our LCAP back in front of you at our next board meeting for action. So I shared this flow chart last year, and it really speaks to our relationship with our County Office of Education and our State Board of Education. The first step, as you can see all the way at the top, is the approval process in which actually starts tonight, which is our public hearing towards your action item in June. Again, as shared, we will also give our public an opportunity to make comments and or submit questions via writing at the end of this presentation, which is already listed on our website. As according to the LCAP approval process, we do have to adhere to these 4 areas on the left there. The first is which we have to adhere to the State Board of Education template. The second of which we must ensure we have sufficient expenditures in our budget to implement our LCAP. And the third of which we have to adhere to the State Board of Education expenditure regulations. And finally, we must ensure that we include the required calculations to determine whether there is a carryover requirement. And of course, all of this we could not have done without Assistant Superintendent Joe Landon's office and Laura McGee, who's in the audience this evening. The LCAP process does go hand in hand with our budget process, and as such, you will also be hearing from Assistant Superintendent Landon after this presentation. So let's start with Joe coming up to provide for us a quick budget overview for the 25-26 as laid out in our LCAP. Or you can come there.
Since it's just one slide for me, I'll stay here for now. But I will come up later when we talk about the entire budget. But just to help align the board a little bit, the total revenue, I think this is a really good summary so you know what we're talking about with the local control funding formula, supplemental and concentration grants. Total LCFF funds, as you see on the left, are $150 million. So we have quite a large district-wide budget. And what we're talking about, what they're really focused on with the LCAP and the supplemental, is that small sliver you see on the right, that $11.6 million. So that's the calculated LCFF supplemental dollars this year. And we have a little bit of a carryover from last year, about $400,000 we're estimating. So it's about $12 million. So if you wonder or hear like, how much do you have in LCAP dollars or LCFF supplemental dollars, it's about almost $12 million. But now when you look at the far right, the total budgeted expenditures in LCAP, you see at $28.8 million. And that's because there's some other items we call out in the LCAP that we're trying to achieve LCAP goals, but we're using actual district dollars, not necessarily LCFF supplemental dollars. So we're keeping track of both of those, but we'll be using both district resources from the general fund as well as LCFF supplemental dollars. So I'll be going over more details of our $150 million+ budget a little later, but with that, I'll go back to 2.
Okay, and then at this time, I'd like to ask Sarah Gandhi to come up and give us a review of our LCAP goals and what we've completed this year, as well as projecting forward.
evening, everyone. So in our LCAP, we, as you've seen, when I came in February, we had 4 goals listed. We still have 4 goals. Goal 1 is about college and career readiness. Goal 2 essentially is about student access and achievement. Goal 3 is student support and parental involvement. And then goal 4 is improving academic outcomes for Adelante High School. Goal 4, moving forward, will be removed from the LCAP because we no longer qualify for an equity multiplier, which is a good thing. Adelante High School has done a great job and their stability rates have increased, and so therefore we no longer need goal 4. So we will only be moving forward with goals 1, 2, and 3. Goal 1, what you see on the left is the actual goal of preparing our students for college, career, and life ready. And what you see on the right are the metrics that were used. When you read the LCAP, you should see under metrics for each of the goals, the baseline, the year 1, and our hopeful outcome in year 3. Goal 2 is very similar as well. What you see on the left is our actual goal, essentially closing the achievement gap. What you see on the right are all of the metrics that we use. So we use CAS scores, we used co-teaching, we used guidance services, credit recovery, and we measured our baseline and our year 1 outcome with that as well. Goal 3 is expanding support for students and also increasing parental involvement. And on the right are the metrics that we use. So we used metrics such as suspension data, expulsion data, ensuring that we're creating a supportive and safe culture in our schools. And so in the LCAP, when you read it, you should see each of the goals with the metrics along with our actions, and then also whether or not we implemented those actions and how successful we were. And so what you see on the next slide is all of our partners that we engaged with in order to provide you a deep analysis of how we did this year. So we talked to our students, our families, and our staff. And so I'm going to invite Dr. Carose back, who will talk more in depth about how we did these surveys.
So as you know, we do submit and implement our annual LCAP Educational Partners Perception Survey. This is sent out via email to all of our parents, our students, and our faculty. In the next few slides, I'll go over some overarching observations as well as opportunities from our respondents in those 3 groups: students, parents, and teachers. So from our students' perception survey results, an observation was made around the area of a sense of belonging and emotional well-being. Students rated doing well in school makes me feel good about myself, with an average score of 4.17 out of 5. As students, teachers, and parents do have to respond on a Likert scale between 1 through 5, with 5 being the highest, to statements in front of them. This particular observation indicates our students believe that there is a strong connection between academic success and their sense of self-worth. And based on our students' feedback, an opportunity for growth includes developing stronger connections between teachers and students. While this area has improved from previous years, students rated an average of 3.39 out of 5 when responding to "my teachers know me well," indicating an opportunity to further build stronger connections with our students. From our parents' survey results, an observation was made around the area of parents valuing education. Parents rated "I support my child learning at home" with an average score of 4.43, the strongest score across all items, reflecting our parents' value for education for their student. An opportunity exists around culture and climate amongst student peers, where parents rated an average of 3.5 for their belief that students are treated fairly by other students, indicating an opportunity to build a more positive school culture of respect and kindness amongst student peers. And finally, from our staff survey results, an observation was made around the area of effects of positive student-teacher relationships. So staff rated, "I believe student achievement can increase through positive relationships between students and teachers highest at 4.7 out of 5, indicating teachers' recognition of the impact of positive relationships with students. An opportunity exists around communication with parents, where staff rated, I believe I communicate with parents often about class activities. I do want to enunciate class activities. The lowest at 3.3 out of 5, indicating an opportunity for staff to increase their communication with parents regarding activities in the classroom. And finally, as we are a continuous improvement school district and we strive to do better each and every year, we do provide for you transparently the last 3-year participation raw numbers. And so you will see our student participation rate decrease slightly, although we are still sitting at over 50% of our students participating in the survey, which is actually very good for an online survey. Our staff participation rate is also very good at almost 90% of our teaching faculty participating in this survey. However, we aim to increase our parent participation rate in the following years. As you can see, we've only received about 10% participation rate almost in the last 3 years. So that's an area of growth for us. And at this point, I'll ask Seema to come back up and share with you some of the qualitative step types from our student focus group, which is a research methodology in conducting qualitative research.
Okay, so I had the opportunity to visit each of our different sites, and I talked to kids. Part of my job, actually, she was one of our focus group students, and it was a wonderful opportunity to really hear from kids. And actually, that's my favorite part of my job. We take them lunch, and we just chat. And so I then take all of that information, and I try to determine some themes out of it, out of what students say. And so what we did was we provided them with some open-ended questions, and we created an opportunity to have some dialogue and some discussion with them and really hear from them how they feel and their perceptions. And so what you see up there is all of the schools that I visited and the dates that we went. Goal 1, which was about college and career readiness. Some of our strengths that our students shared with us is they really appreciate teacher recommendations and that their teachers are available for post-secondary plan, which is awesome. They also really feel as though there's a huge awareness for DE and for CTE, which I think is awesome as well. Some of our growth areas that they mentioned is they want some more additional guidance and clarity around the seal of biliteracy, credit requirements, and some support and guidance on college application processes. Some other things that they also mentioned is that registering for courses and access to advanced courses such as DE, it's sometimes complex and it's hard to process all of it, so they want some more guidance on that. For goal 2, closing the achievement gap. Some of the strengths is that their teachers are responsive to their diverse learning needs, and they offer them support. There's also lots of resources for translation aids for our English learners. Some growth areas that they reported is that there are still some unclear academic expectations in different classes. It varies depending on what class you're in, particularly in some of those advanced courses like AP, DE as well. They also mentioned that sometimes the pacing is very rigid, especially in a block schedule, which means that there's limited flexibility, especially for our students that are involved in multiple extracurricular activities and sports. And so they struggle with balancing those extracurricular activities, responsibilities, and also grades as well, especially when you're on a block schedule. Goal 3, creating a safe and inclusive environment. So some of the strengths around there was teachers were their safe space, which I think is awesome. They really responded that I always have someone to go to on campus, and usually it was their teacher, which tells you that our teachers are really our guiding force here in Roseville. Some of our growth areas they felt as though there was some inconsistency in the discipline practices. And they also reported that there are sometimes some inappropriate comments that are made. They also shared that there was mixed feedback with the Wellness Center, access and confidentiality. Some of the students reported that they wanted things to remain confidential, but at times it wasn't confidential. And so there needs to be some clarity for what the purpose of those wellness centers are, and maybe also work on improving that trust between the student and that adult that they're speaking to. So I'm going to actually hand it back to Dr. Carrose to close that for us.
Okay, and we close our presentation with providing you and our public our QR code, where again, as per Education Code, we want to give our parents, our community, the opportunity to submit questions and or comments by which we will respond to personally, as well as post on our website. And we ask that our public do submit any feedback, questions, or comments by Friday, June 6th, so that we can meet our June 11th Board of Education Action agenda.
Right, thank you. So at this time, we open our public hearing and open to public comment. Is anyone here for public comment on this item? Question?
I'll move we close the public hearing then.
I'll second.
And all those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
All right. Public hearing is closed, so everybody make sure to scan the QR code and send in your feedback. Thank you for that presentation. I know those are a lot of time and work. And I love the student forums. I used to go sometimes with Dr. Moore, April Moore, when she was here, to the student LCAP forums. So if we're still allowed to go sometimes, we're still able to, because they are really fun. The kids put their stickers on the giant Post-it notes, and it's really fun to see what their feedback is. So anyway, without further ado, we'll get on to item 8.2, our public hearing on the district budget, preliminary district budget.
All right, thank you. Let's pull it up. All right, so here we are, May 27th, with our preliminary district budget and our public hearing. What you'll find in your packet in Exhibit C is the state official software, the format that's required, called the SACS format, which includes 141 pages worth of information I'm sure you've read in detail about. And then also we have a summary that's in Exhibit A that has the district financials. And so I'm going to give you a PowerPoint that further summarizes it. So there's obviously a lot more detail. I'm going to go from a pretty darn high level, but please feel free to let me know if you have any questions or comments along the way. So I'm glad we already had board expectations to mention them. The board read them already out loud. I think it's important that we always frame what we're doing with those are our expectations and our goals. And so this a lot focuses on that third board expectation with our governance and business practices. And so with that, I think we'll jump in. These first three slides, I would say, are kind of highlights about our budget. That at least for most business people would love to see these numbers. The first is our enrollment. As you can see, our enrollment has been growing over the last couple of years, and predominantly is projected to grow over the next couple of years. We've seen that with the number of 6th and 7th and 8th graders. As those numbers are continuing to grow, we plan to see them over the next couple of years. So we went from 10,000 to 11,000 students, and by 27-28, we're projected to be over 12,000 students. And so the enrollment is such a huge factor in our district because it means the amount of revenue we're going to receive, it means the number of teachers we need to hire and staff to support those students. The second slide I'm going to go over real quick is the local control funding formula, the amount of dollars we receive per ADA, or average daily attendance. So basically per student. You'll see a steady growth in that amount as the state of California has been increasing the amount of funding they provide per student. Where you see the current year, we're at $13,439, and we're projecting next year $13,890. And the next 2 years, you see a small increase as well. So that means there's more that we're receiving per student, which helps pay for all the costs supporting it. This last one I'm also excited about because this has not been the case for many years, where we look at our reclassification, new position changes. The part that I'm excited about is the very bottom right corner is the total impact to the general fund is actually a negative. So the expenses, typically we increase the number of positions. Over the last few years, as we built up West Park and had to support an additional school, it was a large dollar amount over there, but all of the other ancillary positions, we've been able to fund some of those out of LCAP dollars. And so some of those LCAP supplemental dollars don't actually impact the general fund, unrestricted dollars. And so some of these were reclassifications and other adjustments that we have to make each year. And then this year we're able to do it at pretty much a net zero impact to the general fund unrestricted budget. Here are a high level of all of our revenues and expenditures. So when you look at that very top right corner, that was the number I showed earlier, that total LCFF dollars of 150 million. But we still receive money from the federal government, federal revenues, we have other local dollars, other state dollars. To next year, we're projecting almost $190 million budget. So we're approaching about $200 million in revenue each year. And then when you go towards expenditures, we actually have a larger expenditures last year and this year. A lot of that has to do with the large one-time money we received the prior couple of years. So we already booked all that revenue, but we have expenditures for those one-time dollars that we're spending last year or current year, some next year. When you look at the multi-year, you'll see it a little bit cleaner once those monies go through over the next couple of years. So this is a percentage of where our money comes from. Predominantly, it's the local control funding formula. When you look at the local and state, that 41 plus 38 is about 80% of our revenue. And then when you look at the rest, it comes from state, local, actually federal revenue. As a lot of people have wondered, what's going to happen when there's potential changes to federal revenue? Well, there is some dollars, 2% of our budget. It's not a big impact to our education budget. So if all that 2% went away, well, that wouldn't actually hurt our budget. It's not going to be as devastating as one would think because we predominantly rely on the local control funding formula as well as state revenues to support our district. Now, where does the money go? If you've been here with me for a while, you know I typically say most districts spend between 80 to 85% of their budget on salary and benefits. And so that's pretty much across the district. You may find a district that's like 78, 79, or 86, 87, but predominantly right around 80 to 85. And if you add up salaries and benefits there, it's about 81%. So, which is pretty typical. The challenge of that is if we ever receive less funding or have budget cuts, it becomes very difficult to make cuts without impacting salary and benefits. And so that's where, kind of like Brandon talking earlier, our relationship with our union is so beneficial, and it's been able to help us deal with any potential cuts or issues we have in the state. Luckily, it's been a pretty good last 5 to 10 years, and hopefully it'll continue to be for a while. This is my favorite document I share with the board. You've seen it a million times, but it's our multi-year projection. One of the key percentages I'll mention is the ending fund balance. You see that percentage. For the current year, we're looking at ending around 14% with that 25.7 million. As you go down the line, it goes up down to about 8%, 8.46, and 12%. The reason I point that out is because if the revenue cap ever gets triggered, we need to stay below 10%. It hasn't been triggered for this coming year, but we know at any point in time in May, so that's kind of our target where we look to be around that 10%. We want to make sure we have 6% for our board and state reserves, and then beyond that, we like to have close to that 10%. So when you look at those first 2 years, the deficit spending is high, so we spend down that one-time funds, but as you look at the 26, 27, and 27, 28, you'll see the surplus. And so that's where we always want to be kind of moving to that surplus. We're fine to have the deficit spending as we have the one-time funding, but going forward, we want to make sure we have a plan that we're not going to be deficit spending in the future. We also do a quick summary of our other funds. We have everything I've talked about, that 190 million is just our general fund, but we have a lot of other funds that go to pay for our facilities. We have our adult education, our cafeteria fund, which you can see is about a $10 million budget each year. But all of these are projected to have positive ending fund balances. One I'll highlight is that Fund 17 Special Reserve, that's the pension trust fund. We're projected to have over $5 million in that next year, and depending on how we finish the year, we may have some savings. I think we will have some savings. We'll be able to contribute more to the pension reserve trust next year. And we'll find out that in unaudited actuals. And then these two funds are our facility funds. The large amount you'll see is in Fund 21, which is our SFID, the $50 million we're going to sell at the early July. You see that $50 million coming in as we use those funding to do our major facility projects over the next couple of years. As we talk about facilities, we just want to highlight some of the large projects we've completed and that we're doing going forward. We're sitting in one right now, the district office, the new building, which is 99.9% complete. We did a total roof replacement of the rest of Granite Bay High School, and we also completed some major HVAC upgrades at Oakmont and Wood Creek. So those are some of the big ones that got completed this year. And then these are the construction projects that are in process. We have the bathroom facility at Granite Bay High School, a fairly smaller project. We're just starting to get moving on Oakmont High School to design a classroom building and a new pool and other modernizations there. We broke ground at the Roseville High School project, and so that is moving forward right now with the classroom building, pool, tennis courts, and other modernizations. West Park High School, similar to Oakmont, we've just started looking at the design, the new building, performing arts theater. So both Oakmont and West Park, you'll see a lot of information over the next year as we move those forward. And lastly, the Wood Creek softball field addition, the board went to the groundbreaking, so that's moving forward right now as we get ready to have those softball fields ready for next year. So those are some of the big facility projects that are in the budget. And we just had our May revise, just a couple brief highlights. The LCFF base COLA was finalized at 2.3%, and the governor's proposing to continue to fully fund that. We expect the legislators will also vote to fully fund that. So that was positive. The current revenues and budget looks good. There were some concerns. Overall, it's the projections for the next couple of years in state revenues. You know, there's been a lot of impact to tariff talk and taxes, like from the personal income corporation and sales income taxes. And just to give you an idea, they always look at 3 years, the current year, the prior year, and the future year. When you add all those together, the state projections have been lowered by about $4.8 billion under that window. So there's the potential that we could be seeing less revenues in the future. Right now, it's still looking good at Prop 98, which funds education is still looking positive. But there's a little bit of concern as we look forward to see what that looks like for the state revenues. The last bullet point I just wanted to address, and we haven't really gotten to planning because we want to wait and make sure it gets adopted, but the governor has proposed what he's calling a student support and professional development discretionary, it's a mouthful, one-time block grant. So he initially proposed $1.8 billion, it lowered it to $1.7 billion, but it's essentially about $3.2 million. We put that in the budget, but where we're going to spend it, it's just a blank space for now. So we have it because we think it's going to happen, but we'll wait in the next couple of weeks. We'll see if that actually gets passed. What are the rules? They say right now it's fully discretionary, but sometimes that can change. And so that's something we'll be coming back to the board once that gets finalized by the legislators, how much money it is for the district and what we want to spend that money on. Next steps. Coming up, this is our public hearing, so we'll open up to the public, looking at any potential adjustments in June 10th. And I mentioned earlier, the unaudited actuals, we still have our current year, we'll be closing the books. September 10th, we'll be closing 24-25, and then December 10th, we'll start looking at the first update for 25-26. All right, but before I finish, I do want to thank Lauren, who's here. So she is amazing. She is our director of accounting. I think some of the board members have met her, but her and her team, these 180 pages, hours and hours and hours and hours of work that goes in. And I have such faith in them. They do such an awesome job. So just want to give her kudos and her team. They do an awesome job with our budget, and I don't know where I would be without them. So just want to give them a quick kudos. Thank you for that. And with that, I would entertain any comments or questions.
Okay. Well, we will open our public hearing to any comments from the public. Just thinking maybe people are going to come flooding in with questions for Lauren and Joe. Maybe not tonight.
Seeing none, motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
All right, motion and second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, public hearing is closed. We will move on to item 9.1, our first action matters, and it is our RCA agreement.
Yes, this is me. So this is our RSCA agreement. It's the AB 1200 disclosures. Once again, Lauren does a lot of this work. Making sure we can afford the raise that we just agreed in the tentative agreement and all the language. So we submit this up to the county and get their approval and blessing, but essentially it's that package of 2.3% value that we are happy to give to our RSCA representatives. And so these are all the disclosures, and staff recommends the approval of this.
All right, any questions or comments?
I'm ready for a motion if you're ready.
I believe that we are ready.
I would move that we ratify the 25-26 RSCA agreement and authorize the execution of certification number 2 of the disclosure of collective bargaining agreement with RSCA.
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And anyone opposed? All right, motion carries 5-0. And then moving on to 9.2, public disclosure.
Yep, this is the exact same thing, but with our non-represented groups.
Questions or comments? No?
So I would go ahead and make a motion to ratify the commitments of the agreement and authorize the execution of certification number 2 of the disclosure of collective bargaining agreement for the non-represented groups.
I'll second.
Sorry, Bill?
We keep tying tonight.
All right, I heard a second. So motion and a second, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries 5-0.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
I'm never really sure when I can comment. I just really wanted to thank Brad and Joe and the union and everybody that worked together on this. It really is remarkable and takes a lot of work and a lot of relationships, as you had pointed out, Brandon. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yes, it's something I feel like, at least on the time that we've been here, we almost forget that other districts don't function this way and this well, and it's easy to sometimes take that for granted a little bit until you see how other districts are doing it. It's like, oh, okay, you guys are awesome out there. So we appreciate that.
Well, I didn't realize I was talking to Brad. Tell me if I get this right. You've been 17 years on the negotiating team. Did I get that correct?
That's correct.
And 7 years as the chief negotiator.
Yes.
So we have some hearty experience that's helping us out. Hearty experience, seasoned.
All right. Okay, moving on to 9.3, we have a resolution for the sale of Chromebooks.
Yes, this is a fairly new process. We started a couple years ago as we give all our incoming ninth graders Chromebooks. It came up that a lot of them would like to keep those Chromebooks. And we have to go through a whole surplus process, and this is a great win-win. We're able to sell the Chromebooks because we can't just give them Chromebooks or get to public funds. So we, for a nominal fee, they're able to keep their Chromebooks, take them to college, do whatever they want with them. And so this is a resolution allowing us to sell those to the students who'd like to keep them.
It's pretty cool.
Okay, yeah, are these do they go for sale this week?
I think they've already
happened?
submitted that if they want to intend to keep them, and they fill out a form and maybe we make it happen. For those who don't want to, we'll take them back and use them as loaners or backup Chromebooks, but we've been finding this become more and more popular that students want to keep their Chromebook. And it's a pretty reasonable deal for $40 to keep your device.
With that, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2510, approving the sale of surplus and obsolete instructional materials.
I'll second it. Oh, sorry.
All right, roll call vote for this one. Trustee Constant?
Yes.
Trustee Coleman?
Yes.
Heidi, yes. Trustee Brand?
Yes.
Yes.
Schutz, yes. And our student board reps? Yeses. We have yeses across the board. Resolution 2510 passes 5-0. And we will go on to 9.4, our second reading of some new textbooks.
Hi, good evening. I'm bringing forth a second reading and request for approval of our AP recommended text for AP Chemistry and AP Psychology. We completed our 30-day public comment and viewing and considered any feedback and bringing forth those staff recommendations.
Did anybody come to view the books? I always want to know. Did any feedback come in?
I'm sorry.
Did anybody come and review?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Now I'll make a motion that staff, that we adopt the recommended proposed AP textbooks.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion and a second, and all those in favor of approving the textbook, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries 5-0. And, staff reports. Going fast, you guys. Any, okay, sorry, 10.1, so annual report from Joe.
Yep.
Okay.
So I won't go through this in detail. This is a required report we bring to the board each year. I think it's important. It's kind of our running total of our district-wide bonds that we have that our taxpayers pay. And so one of the things I always look for is when do some of these start falling off? And so we do have one. If you look at that 2016 GEO refunding bonds, so those mature August 2026, and so that's an exciting one where that bond that got refinanced a number of years ago gets paid off. When you scroll further down, you can see the estimated dollar amount projected tax rates. And so for the next, up until now, till 2031, you'll see that dollar amount around $20 per 100,000 assessed value. So what that means, if you have a $500,000 house, or a house that's valued under property taxes at $500,000, it's about $100 a year you pay towards your bonds. If you live not inside the SFID, but if you live in district-wide. And so you can see kind of over the next, from now to 2046, what that's projected to be. These numbers are conservative. I think as more and more houses get built, that gets shared across the district, and sometimes these numbers start to go down. What we will look at, each year we look with our advisor if we can refinance some of these at lower interest rates. What you see later in the presentation is the current interest rates are a bit high compared to where they've been over the last 5 years. Historically, still not too bad when you look at the last 50 to 100 years, but we were able to refinance a lot of bonds in the early 2000, from 2010 to 2020, when the interest rates were like in the 2%. It's kind of like a lot of us did with our own houses, and we're kind of locked into really good interest rates. But we'll still look and see if there's ways to refinance. But currently, the rates have been hovering around that 5% now, so not as good as they once were. But you see also the SFID I'll mention, the projections are that will be at the most $38. That's what we projected when we sold SFID bonds. And so you can see kind of the history for the SFID as well. So with that, there's some fun information to look through. Please feel free to ask me questions now or at a different time if you want to look into this more detail. But that's all the information I have.
Thank you so much. Any questions for him right now? No? Okay. And any additional staff comments? Okay. So our Horizon report, we have, did you have a comment?
Yeah. I'm trying to get the microphone from you.
I'm sorry. I didn't see that happening over there.
Just want to take the opportunity to recognize that our principals are in the room. during one of the busiest weeks for you in terms of ending the school year, being ready for graduation, the stress that this week, I'm as a former principal, and I know that each of you is wearing right now, but when that last kid walks across the stage on Thursday night and Friday night, just the relief of another successful year. You guys have the most difficult job, I believe, in the district. I've worn many hats, and your job is tough. And each of you guys make it look easy from our standpoint. You do a great job. And I just didn't want to end this year to end without saying thank you to every one of you.
Anyone else down there trying to grab a mic? Okay. All right, so upcoming agenda items will have the follow-up from our hearings that we had tonight on the budget and the LCAP, and then we have an ethics training coming up, a superintendent evaluation, and I feel like a lot of things happening this summer, so we'll be busy. And yeah, we're just very excited for graduation. We'll see you all in the next couple days, and it's the most exciting time of the year. So thank you all. Thanks all the teachers and staff, and we are excited to see all these kids walk across the stage. With that, any motions to adjourn?
Yes, I'm more excited for motion.
I'll second. All right, we have a motion, a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. We will see you all in a couple days.